Hey friends, well, here we go again. You know what I realized yesterday? That I've completely gone past without noticing the 40th one of these. I think this is 43. So I worked it out that next Friday, not this Friday, but next Friday will be number 50. So if I'm still going next Friday, we need to have a party together on here because that's 50 days of us being in the Word together, opening the Word, praying together, believing God for changes in circumstances, 50 days. So next Friday, if I'm still here and you're still here, we should have a party that day. Anyway, I digress. I want to actually today ask you if you would choose with me to go on a, wait for it, detox. Some of you are like, no, leave my donuts alone. It's the one pleasure I have in isolation. I'm not talking about your donuts, although it might be a good time for us to look at our diet. I have to say that, and our regime, and make sure in lockdown we're not going through a tub of Ben & Jerry's per night. That wouldn't be a good idea. But I'm actually talking about spiritually. I think this season presents itself with an opportunity for us to actually detox some things out of our lives. And maybe we are already in the midst of detoxing and we just need to identify that's what it is and actually embrace the journey that is actually bringing into our spiritual life, into our physical life. Because right now, many things are cut out of our life. And maybe when we get out of here, we should think twice before we add them straight back into our life. And so I want to break this down with you today and actually to choose a detox, not let it happen just because of circumstances, but actually to go with it and actually spiritually go on a journey of detoxing some things out of your system. I don't know if you've ever done a detox before, or you're like, I don't know what you're talking about, but our body builds up in the natural toxins that are not good for us. And I have quite a few friends that live in California. I love you, my Californian friends. And it seems that every time I'm in California, someone is on a detox and someone's telling me the latest and greatest way to do it. One of my friends had a whole juice system going on when I was last with her, where juices were being delivered to her house, and that was basically what she lived off that entire few weeks that she decided to detox. Now that's kind of extreme, but I'm asking us to actually think about areas in our life right now where maybe we need to get a little extreme, where we need to actually say, I'm not actually going to have that. I'm not going to actually speak about that. I'm going to use this season for a detox to cleanse out any of the toxicity that is in my system that I didn't even realize was in my system. Have you noticed that maybe you're saying some things, or maybe your confession is a certain way and you didn't even realize that you had that negativity in you, or you had that ability to be such a worrier until you found yourself in this season? Well, that's a good kind of point on the radar for us to go, I want to detox that out of my life. Let me give you some of the natural signs that somebody's body has toxicity in it, and actually they are in need of a detox. And when I read these natural signs, I want you to think about your life in the spiritual. Signs of toxicity in your system. It says on the website that I was looking at when I did my research for you. Here's just a few of them. That you have exhaustion that you can't shake. That you can't sleep even though you are exhausted, that you have fuzzy thinking, that your mind's not clear, that there's a bad smell that your body emits. Let's think about that in a moment spiritually. That you are oversensitive, and that you have, sorry to say this word, constipation. Okay, those are just a few of the things that I think we could draw an analogy from to look at our lives spiritually, because often in our lives we can spiritually be exhausted. You ever felt that way, where you're just like, you're rolling into something, like maybe it was a service when we were gathering like we used to, and you just like, there's just nothing coming off you, or maybe you pray but you just feel tired. Remember the disciples that time when Jesus said, could you pray for me? Would you pray with me? And they couldn't even wait with him for an hour. That exhaustion can come on us all. Maybe you are sensing spiritually right now that you just are in a place where you can't sleep. And though there's more hours in the day for you to be at rest, you're not at rest because you find that you're worried and you're anxious. And so you're lacking in the sleep area. Maybe you are fuzzy in your mind. One of the signs of toxicity in a body physically is that you can't get clarity in your thinking, but also spiritually, when we have the wrong things in us, it messes up our thinking and we lose the clarity that we need to make sound decisions. Also, it says that there can be a sense of bad odor that comes off your life naturally. And you know what? Spiritually, there can be an odor that comes off our life, a fragrance that comes off our life that actually does not smell the way it should smell. That actually there's just something off. Have you ever been in the fridge and you're like, something is off in there? And maybe in this season you're realizing something is off in this relationship. Something is off in that person. There's something off in me when it comes to the way I think. All of those are signs that there's something that we need to detox in our life. Oversensitivity. We found that you are oversensitive in this season. Everything is a big deal. You are touchy about everything. Maybe you're aware of that in this season. Or maybe, sorry to use it again, but maybe you're constipated spiritually. Maybe there is stuff in you. There's waste in you. There's toxic thoughts in you. There are offenses in you. There is unforgiveness in you. And because you are not releasing it and letting it go, it is building up inside of you. And I'm telling you, there is no good way for that to end unless you are willing to go on a detox. So if those are the signs in the natural, how can we see those in the spiritual? And if you are identifying in this season that you've realized spiritually, I just feel tired, I don't want to pray, I just feel like my head's not clear, I just feel like there's just something off in my life or in a relationship, then that's a sign that maybe you need to choose to spiritually go on a detox. Let me read this to you from Proverbs 4, verse 23. This is how you begin your detox. It says this: keep vigilant watch over your heart. That's where life starts. Don't talk out of both sides of your mouth. Avoid careless banter, white lies, and gossip. Keep your eyes straight ahead. Ignore all the sideshow distractions. Watch your step and the road will stretch out smooth before you. What's it saying? It's saying watch over your heart. It's saying don't allow things to distract you and don't allow gossip or careless banter to become a toxic inside of you, but actually keep a vigilant watch over your heart, because that's where your life flows from. And I think in a season like we are in, it's the perfect opportunity for us to actually clear some things out that don't belong in our heart, to remove some things out that don't belong in our thinking, and take some things out that don't belong in our confession. And maybe there was a toxic relationship that you were in, and right now the removal of that relationship has made you realize, wow, that was toxic. That was not good for me. You know, I've had to allow people to be taken out of my life, removed from my life, and not fight to keep them in my life, because I've realized them being in my world was making my world toxic. I remember having to deal with friendships that would expect something from me that I could never give them, that only God could ever give them. And the more that that person was around putting a wrong expectation on me, the more toxic that relationship became in my mind and in my space. And I just had to say, you know what? I release that person, because I can never be that thing that they're looking for me to be. Or maybe it's a toxic family member or a relative. You know, we have to admit that there's some spaces and places in our life where we need some distance from people, that actually their words over us are toxic, the way that they handle us is toxic, and we actually have to identify that. Or maybe we are the ones that have been handling someone in a toxic way, and we have to go, you know what? I need to detox my life so I don't enter back into those relationships and handle them with the same toxicity that I have before this season. It takes great honesty and it takes great vulnerability to go on a detox, but we should all embrace this season of isolation to be vulnerable before God and allow Him to show us what we need to take out of our life and what we need to replace in our life. Let me give you another one that's in Psalm 139, verse 23. This is the Passion Translation. It says this: God, I invite your searching gaze into my heart. Okay, that's how you start your detox. Examine me through and through. Find out everything that may be hidden within me. Put me to the test and sift through all my anxious cares. See if there is any path of pain I'm walking on, and lead me back to your glorious everlasting ways, the path that brings me back to you. I love that verse. What's it saying? God, I'm inviting you to search me. And oftentimes we don't invite God to search us. We kind of discover things when it gets really ugly or it gets nasty or we can't avoid it anymore. But living a life where we're constantly inviting God to search our hearts, to scan our hearts, to check that there's nothing in us that's bad or off, means that we keep short accounts before God and short accounts with ourselves. Let me give you another one. Proverbs 18, verse 20. Words satisfy the mind as much as fruit does the stomach. Good talk is as gratifying as a good harvest. Words kill. Words give life. They're either poison or fruit. You choose. You choose whether you have toxic things placed in you or whether you have things that are going to bear good fruit placed within you. You choose whether it's poison you swallow or whether you actually decide to put it to one side and say no more of that toxic stuff is going to enter my heart or enter my soul. You know, it says that the body can get toxicity from 3 different spheres. 1, environmental, 2, cellular, and 3, the things that we digest. And let me think about those with you for a moment. 1 is saying there's toxicity in the environment. You can't stop it. It's out there. It's in the environment, and it seeks to kind of come into your space and your world. We can't stop what happens out there in the environments around us. There is toxic, there is poison. Turn on the news. You get around different things in our environment and out there in our world. There is toxicity in there that wants to come into our space. We have to be aware of the toxic from outside. Then it says that there's a cellular one. That's to do with actually the way that you're actually made. That actually there's things inside your cells that can get toxic. And I believe there's things inside us spiritually that actually we've been nurtured in a way to think maybe in a toxic way or act in a toxic way. Things that actually we were raised with that are limiting us and are restricting us and actually have become toxic to the progress of our life. A poverty mentality or a critical spirit or a sense of we'll never be good enough. They're all toxic things that can get in kind of the cellular structure of our spiritual life and actually become something that we just accept as the norm. But in this season, you get to detox and say, I don't have to think that way. And I don't have to repeat the pattern that was passed on to me, maybe from my parents or from their parents. And then the final one is the things that you actually digest. You choose to actually allow that into your system. You choose to actually eat that toxic stuff. And actually in this season, we have to be more aware than ever where we are the ones that have said, you know what, I'm putting this in me. I'm believing this. I'm actually digesting this conversation. I'm digesting this belief. What is it that you're putting in your own body that's making you sick? And in this season, I'm saying maybe we could all choose together to go on a detox. You know, a detox can help you in the physical lose some weight. It can help you in the physical get more healthy, and it can help you in the physical readdress some imbalances. And in the spiritual, it can also help you lose some weight, lose some stuff that you don't need to carry that is poison inside your system. It can also help you begin to be healthier in your thinking and in your heart and in your actions and in your confession. And it can also help you readdress some imbalances in your life that the toxic things have caused you to be off or have a wrong perspective in. So today, I want you to choose to go on a detox, to check what it is, to ask God, begin there. God, examine my heart, search me, know me, and show me what it is that I need to remove that is poison in my system and poison to my future. And as we detox together, let's embrace a healthier us at the end of this, because we decided to remove some things that were toxic and detox them from our life once and for all. So have a great day. Happy detoxing, friends.